the biggest robberies in UFC history. Now, if you've seen my previous video, UFC fights that were not robberies, you know, I don't really consider many fights a robbery. Sean O'Malley, Peter Yan, I don't think was a robbery. Gus versus Jones, I don't think was a robbery. So it takes a lot for me to consider a fight a robbery. But I think what makes it so much worse is fights like Renat versus Leal or Li Jilang versus Daniel Rodriguez. Those were definitely robberies, but not much changed legacy-wise. But if we look at some of these fights, you know, belts were on the line, number one contender spots were on the lines. That's what I think makes a robbery even worse. Obviously, it being an actual robbery and a clear winner, not just like kind of like a very competitive fight like Sean O'Malley versus Peter Yan, where I think, you know, it could go either way. These, I think, had a very clear winner. Now, I'm also going to be scoring the fights round by round, starting off with what I think is maybe one of the most underrated robberies of all time, in my opinion. We have Arman versus Gamrot. I feel like this was a very clear and easy fight to score, and the fact all three judges had it 48-47 is insane. Round by round, the first round pretty easy. Gamrot is getting hit with body kicks, head kicks. I mean, he's getting hit with everything. He's not throwing back. Clear 10-9 Arman round. Round two is kind of the same. Gamrot's pressuring a little bit more, but again, he's getting clearly outlanded and getting out damaged with no control time. They're about even in the grappling. Clear 2-0 Arman. All the judges, everyone agrees with this. It's not even like a discussion. Round three is where it kind of starts to get off interesting. Arman starts the round with more kicks. He starts off pretty aggressive, doing very good. Arman, at this point, he's a massive favorite, like minus 650 or something like that. And Arman, he lands a good shot as Gamrot shoots. It's one of the biggest shots of the fight. Very damaging. Gamrot is able to get down Arman, but he doesn't really do any damage with it. He also is landing like jabs, little shots that don't really have as much sting on it as Arman's. And then Arman ends the round very strong with a few really good kicks, very clean kicks. And because of that, I lean Arman Tsarukyan. The striking numbers were very close. I lean him in this round. So I think it's 3-0 Arman, and I think Gamrot needs a finish. I think you could give this round to Gamrot, though. This isn't like a robbery round or whatever, but what makes this a robbery is round four. Now, despite Arman Tsarukyan dropping Gamrot with a spinning back fist, dropping him, outstriking him something crazy like 28-7. I mean, completely outdamaging him, outstriking him, landing really good body kicks. They gave this round to Gamrot. All three judges, and even the commentators were saying it should be Gamrot's round, because he got 2 minutes of control time with absolutely zero damage off. There is no way you could score this round to Gamrot. Absolutely zero way. This is a clear Arman round. I have it 4-0 at this point. It could be 3-1. At this point, Gamrot needs a finish. But what makes this even worse is round five. Now, a lot of people think, okay, a lot of people score 49-46 Arman, 48-47, but, you know, round five, that should be Gamrot's round. I don't even think he won this round, and I know that's kind of a hot take, but in my opinion, it was very close. Arman, he starts off hot again, dropping Gamrot with a leg kick. He landed a few of those, very damaging. Arman, I'm pretty sure, got some control time in the mid-round, if I'm not mistaken. And then Gamrot also got control time. And while Gamrot, towards the end, it was very close. It was like 12-12 on strikes, pretty much even. He does get a takedown at the end, which I agree. It's like, okay, you could secure the round with a takedown if it's completely even on the feet. He got some control time. But he got off no damage, and Arman was able to reverse the position and actually land damage at the end. Granted, he was gassed, it was body shots, it wasn't anything too damaging, but still, I think it was enough for him to win the round, and I have it 50-45 Arman Tsarukyan. I think this is one of the worst robberies of all time, and how we lost in this fight is, I think this was June of 2022, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 2021. But I'm pretty sure this was right before Oliveira versus Makhachev. And if Arman Tsarukyan, if he wins this, he solidifies himself as really the next contender. Now, we probably still would have had to wait for the Volk-Islam fight, but we probably would have gotten Arman Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira or something like that way earlier. And we likely would have seen Arman Tsarukyan fight Islam Makhachev because he wouldn't have had the back injury. And that's a great fight, Arman versus Islam. Very competitive fight. I would have loved to see how that went. But yeah, this was a massive robbery, in my opinion. 50-45, Arman Tsarukyan is my scorecard. Next up, we have Jon Jones versus Dominic Reyes. Probably one of the most well-known robberies, if not the most well-known. It's so unfortunate we see Jon Jones now. I feel like his legacy is such a fraud. I mean, it's ridiculous. He has so many things going in his favor that not a lot of fighters get. Not a lot of fighters get these decisions that go their way after losing the first 3 rounds. Round by round, how did I score this? And I still count this as a loss for Jon Jones. The first round, Dominic Reyes shows no respect towards Jon Jones, goes straight in there, defends the takedown, and he lands a lot of good shots. It was pretty even at first, but then Reyes, I think, drops him with a body shot, follows up with a nice flurry. He outdamaged Jon Jones, outstruck him, no control time, clear Dominic Reyes round. Everyone pretty much agrees with this one. Round 2, though, was probably one of the closest rounds to score, in my opinion, if not the closest round to score. Reyes, he started to slow down a little bit after a very fast first round. But the problem is, Jon Jones, he didn't capitalize on this. This is where Reyes started to go on the back foot, which is why I guess they gave the fight to Jon Jones. But unlike a lot of Jon Jones fights, he wasn't capitalizing on the front foot. He wasn't landing leg kicks or anything. If anything, in this fight, Reyes was the one landing leg kicks on the back foot, which was pretty impressive. And Reyes was landing good investment shots throughout this round. It was very close on strikes, but with Reyes outlanding him slightly and, in my opinion, landing the more damaging shots with no control time, I think while it is very close, and I think of the swing rounds, this is probably the closest, I think Dominic Reyes clearly won this round. And it's weird because one judge gave this round to Reyes, but then gave the third round to Jones, which I think is crazy because I think this round was actually closer than the third round. We'll talk about the judges' scorecards in a little bit, but round 3, in my opinion, this was definitely Reyes' round. I think this was the round where Joe Rogan said something like sheer toughness and heart for Jones. You know, he's pushing forward. We saw in the Gus fight, he was pushing the pace in round 5, and he didn't even train. It's so crazy because it's so obvious how he was able to push himself without training. He's obviously roided up. Clear advantage. He's a drug cheat, one of my least favorite fighters, but regardless, that was also annoying. The commentators were horrible this fight. Round 3, though, Dominic Reyes, I'm pretty sure this was the round where he started off pretty good, landing damaging kicks. Again, a lot of pressure from Jon Jones, but not much action from Jon. On the back foot, Reyes is doing very good. Again, he's landing more damaging strikes. This round was more clear. I have it Dominic Reyes outlanded him again. I have it 3-0 Dominic Reyes at this point. And round 4, I actually thought may have been a closer round than round 2. I think 49-46 Reyes is a better scorecard than 48-47 Jones. Reyes starts off the round very good, hurting Jon Jones. He hurt him very bad. I forgot if it was this round or the other round where he landed a really good uppercut. Starts off very good, and then Jon Jones, very smart. He shoots a takedown, doesn't get it, and Reyes spends a lot of time against the cage, which no damage done, not really a bad thing. But it's afterwards, towards the last 2 minutes, where he really starts to slow down and gas out. And Jones, he's able to capitalize. He lands a lot of good strikes. I think he slightly outstruck Reyes. I would lean Jon Jones in this round because it was so close, but you could give this round to Reyes, in my opinion. Round 5, this was a round where, Reyes completely slows down. It still was close on strikes. It was kind of the opposite of like the first round or second round. But Jon Jones won the 5th round. But in my opinion, I have it 48-47 Dominic Reyes. And we lost a lot because we lost the opportunity to see the GOAT lose this fight and a potential rematch. I mean, Reyes would have been the champion. There was a lot on the line for this fight. But yeah, moving on to the next fight. Next up, we have Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon. Now, of all of these fights I've listed, this one is probably the one that I think is the least of a robbery, in my opinion. At first, everyone thought Paddy Pimblett, didn't get robbed, but Jared Gordon was the one who got robbed. And honestly, as time goes on, I think that this fight was a lot closer. It's just we expected Paddy Pimblett to dominate. I know a lot of people after this performance hated Paddy. In like 2023, early 2024, people hated Paddy Pimblett. Really until his Bobby Green win, people did not like him at all. And now people love him again. But How did I score this round by round? So the first round, Gordon started off very good. He landed so many clean strikes on Paddy. I will say Paddy Pimblett has such a good chin, so it's kind of hard to score because they were clean shots right on the chin. But Pimblett, he wasn't really super wobbled, so it's tough to score how much we call it damage. If you're one of those people that say, hey, even a clean strike, it didn't phase him, I feel like Paddy Pimblett leg kick is more damaging, then you probably will score this for Pimblett. But I do score this as damaging. It was super clean, even though Paddy Pimblett took it well. I will say Gordon, his output mid-round, especially in the first round, could have been higher. Pimblett was landing some really good leg kicks. And then I'm pretty sure in this round, Gordon ended it with a takedown. Plus, he outstruck him, outdamaged him, in my opinion. I will say Pimblett did good off of his back. Both guys were landing shots on the ground. I think Pimblett may have even cut him a little bit. Very small cut. I do think Jared Gordon won this round, however, in a pretty close round, but I think it was a clear Jared Gordon round. The second round was a little bit more interesting. It was a little bit closer, in my opinion. He started off, again, clean shots, just like the first round. He starts to kind of slow down a little bit. Pimblett, he gets taken down, but he has a submission attempt, which, he had more damage on the ground because of the submission attempt. And I think Paddy Pimblett, his flurry at the end of the round, in a very close round, I think it gave him the round, and I think it makes sense why they gave the fight, or gave the round to Paddy Pimblett. I have it 1-1 at this point. The third round, though, not much really happened. It was really just Jared Gordon controlling him against the fence. I don't think Paddy Pimblett landed like one more strike than Gordon. All of the strikes are pretty even in the damage done. So I know people say control time means nothing, and Pimblett did have some control time at the end, but again, it was similar to Gordon's. It was never like a real submission attempt. I think when someone has control time for like 3 minutes or something like that, 3.5 minutes, and the other person maybe has one more strike, I think you probably have to give the round to Jared Gordon, in my opinion. I have it 29-28 Jared Gordon. I think, honestly, it was so close. I think 30-27 either way. I don't think it would have made sense, but I could kind of understand where they're coming from. But yeah, I think that this was another robbery, in my opinion. Now, what I will say for this fight is this is another one where Jared Gordon really lost out. He's had so many fights that really should have gone his way. But for this one, he lost out. I mean, imagine how much hype he would have beating Paddy Pimblett. He would have had to face, a ranked opponent after that, a very big fight. And I know he did face Bobby Green, but he got unlucky with the headbutt. Honestly, if he fights someone else, that probably doesn't happen. So this was a massive fight, massive implications. If Pimblett loses, he loses a lot of hype. But moving on to the next fight, Jose Aldo versus Mario Bautista. Honestly, for this fight, I predicted Bautista by a 29-28 decision. I thought that it would go pretty close to that, where it'd be 1-1, and he wins in the third because Jose Aldo, Salt Lake City elevation, he already doesn't have the best gas tank. And I was right, but at first watching this live, I didn't think that was a robbery. I feel like every fight people say Jose Aldo got robbed, and he's had a lot of fights that should have or could have gone his way. I think the Marlon fight, I think that one was pretty close, but for that one, I feel like that one isn't as big of a robbery as this, watching both of them back. I think his recent fight wasn't a robbery at all. I think he lost that fight. While it was close, I mean, he just didn't have the gas tank for it, and I'm glad he did retire. But the first 2 rounds were very clear in this fight. Mario, I believe, won the first, and Aldo won the second. The third round is the swing round, how I scored it. So, Aldo, he was landing his jab a lot, but Mario, he's landing like jabs to the body. It was pretty close. He was landing leg kicks. It was pretty even on the feet, to be honest. And then Mario was able to shoot the takedown, gets control time. And if the round ended there in like the last 30 seconds, 40 seconds, I actually probably would score it to Bautista because it was so close. But Jose Aldo at the end landed some really good shots, and I think that was enough, his aggression, the clean shots he landed, to give him the round pretty clearly. I think Aldo definitely got robbed in this fight. We lost out because we could have seen Jose Aldo fight Figueiredo or like Corey Sandhagen. He should have never had to fight Mario in the first place. This was already horrible matchmaking. But yeah, I would have loved to see those fights, and it really does suck because he looks, he still looked good in his last fight. It's just his gas tank. I guess his heart wasn't there. But yeah, this was an absolute robbery, in my opinion. But Jose Aldo, I will say, I know a lot of people, even though he did get robbed in this fight, he was good, but I always thought he was a little bit overrated. Yes, his takedown defense was very good. It was great. But he does get held against the cage a lot, just like Merab. And I know people will complain, oh, why are you just holding him against the cage? I kind of side with Merab and Mario here, where it's like, dude, you have to get off the cage. Like, he has such good takedown defense, but he doesn't know how to get off the cage, which is kind of insane. I also think his cardio was never really that good. But yeah, I like Jose Aldo. I'm glad he retired. It sucks he didn't, get a go off with the win. But this was an absolute robbery, in my opinion. Let me know which fights you disagree with or which fights you agree with. Some fights I missed. Let me know what fights I said in my other video that you disagree with. But yeah, that is it for me. Let me know what you think. And yeah.